Good morning, everybody. Happy Monday. Hey, yo, Neil K. Good morning, Pac-Man. What's up, Camel? Hey, yo, Neil K. Good morning, Pac-Man. And apparently, I need to turn off my... There we go. All right. Hey, Wade. Slash Guns, Pierre. Heard me typing, clicking. Awesome, Brad. Thank you. I'm glad you're here. Hey, Neo. Fallwin. Steven. Welcome, everybody. So as you can probably tell from the title, I'm hoping to focus on startup performance. So basically, I've done 1,000 things to increase the startup performance in the past, but one thing I haven't done is try and do it threaded so that it uses all the cores on your system when we start up LaunchBox, which might be tricky, but I'm hoping we can pull that off. So we'll see how that goes. And that has the potential to speed up the startup quite a bit. It's been another popular complaint lately, so that's why I'm focusing on it again here. Hey, Double O. Hey, Refresh. Hans, welcome. So, before we get started, let's go ahead and say a quick prayer and we'll be off. I'm ready to go, so I might as well jump into things here. Lord, thank you for another opportunity to come and be with the community here and be with each other and enjoy each other's company and just do what we love, Lord, or at least do what I love. Pray that you would be with us today. Help me to be productive and focus. Bless our conversations. I pray that you would bless everybody here. Just be with everybody, Lord. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. All right. So, startup performance, right? Something is missing, yes. Please be careful. Neil. Yes, I shaved. Every once in a while, when my beard gets thick enough, I'm lazy, as you guys know. I don't trim. I don't trim anything. I don't keep anything up. I don't cut my hair. I don't trim my beard. The only thing I do is I shave when it starts to get annoying. And last night I laid down to go to bed, and it was like, all right, this is annoying now. So I got up and I shaved it all off. So I don't like the way I look with a shaved face, to be completely honest with you guys. But I'm not interested in putting in enough work to keep a beard trimmed. So that's what you get, I guess. Hey, Pure Luck, Poiser, Quad, Voice Command Bonanza. Yes, insert coin for Jade. All right. So, startup. This happens if we start up LaunchBox. First of all, let's time this. Let's time my collection here and see how long it takes to start up, so that we can have a point to test against. Let me just get a stopwatch online going. Stopwatch. Google has us covered. All right. So about 1 second added there. So about 10 seconds. Probably 9 if you discount the second it took me to start the icon. All right. And if we do that again, what we'll notice is populating games takes up the most amount of time, although there's other, well, caching playlists as well is another big one. So populating games and caching playlists. What caching playlists is doing is it's basically populating all the games in the playlist, because that actually takes a significant amount of time, and I don't want people to have to wait for that while the interface is loaded. So we cache them on startup. And I know that's not necessarily a deal, but I was getting complaints about things being too slow in the interface, and that really, really helped speed things up. But if we thread those things, in theory, those are the two things that take the longest time. So if we thread those things, we could, significantly increase or speed up the startup time. So let's. Aggie from Scooby-Doo. When you're rich and famous, you can hire somebody to maintain the beard. I don't know. I don't know about that. That's funny. Jamie, how long does it take to get a fully functional 2 terabyte system running? Uh, it depends. It depends on what you want. That's impossible. All right. Well, hopefully that solves it. I just restarted the stream. It's going to take a while to come back up. Looks like we're back up, though. You guys good? I mean, are we back up? What's going on? Buffering. Bugger. If there's all right. I don't know if All right. Well, let's hope it stays fine. I don't know what's going on. If it doesn't, then I'm gonna have to. I don't. The problem is I don't know if it's me or Restream. So we'll see. I'm not getting any drop frames for the moment, but I have noticed that we are getting drop frames every once in a while. So I don't know what's going on. Anyways, finally I can get back to development here. Hey Goomba, no nanny, no nani. Dave. All right. So ultimately, we have this for each here that goes through all the files, and we need to thread that. That's what we need to do. Now I have an example of how to do the threading that I already did in the audit code. So let me pull that up, and I can look at that as an example as we get this going in the audit form. I'm going to move that over to my second monitor. And we'll scroll down. Come on. There it is. Jade wants a fiance. I don't know how many men are on this stream. I wonder. What's up, Ryan? Awkward stairs. Need for speed. I'm gonna change my library background to compilation of game covers like I did. There's images available on the forums. I think it's they might be in a particular theme actually. It's just an image, is all it is. Alexander. And they're available on the forums under a particular theme. I'm trying to remember. I think it's Clean BG or something like that. That theme has them. They might be available elsewhere as well. I'm not sure. Yeah, those Nintendo Switches are hard to come by these days. It's funny because like the day they were released, I walked into my local Target, and I had already ordered mine from Amazon, but the day they were released, I walked into my local Target and I could have just picked one up. But ever since then, they have been hard to find. I don't understand. So apparently, like the initial batch was was fairly large. Nintendo didn't botch this release like they botched the NES Classic at least. But so I think it's a legit thing for the Switch. It's just high demand, unlike the NES Classic. But yeah, they're hard to find now. But I was able to go into my Target yesterday and pick up a couple Pro controllers, so that's nice. Because I'd previously tried to do that and they were all out of stock. Can you change the theme for LaunchBox? Outside of changing the colors, no. There's no way to do that in LaunchBox itself. The themes are only for Big Box. Yeah. John, no, this probably won't affect that. Jade, you're supposed to keep that to yourself, you know. Yeah, the background image though can work in both LaunchBox and Big Box, Alexander. Well, that's cool, Doss. Yeah, I think it'll get some third-party support. I mean, honestly, I don't think the Switch is going to be anywhere near as third-party supported as the Xbox or the PlayStation stuff. But it doesn't need to be. It needs to be just as good as the Wii or as good as the um, you know, previous systems like the SNES, whatever. But I don't think it really needs to have like perfect SNES or perfect third party support or tons of third party support in order to be a success. Great to hear, Michael. Thank you. Oh, and now I see sold out. So it was. Yeah, big boxes will be affected by this as well, Pac Man. Absolutely. It's for both. Hey, Sid. Big boxes, $20. It's $20 for both licenses. Whether you get the $20 license or the $50 license, will last forever. You're never going to be kicked out of the product. But you only get updates for a year with the $20 license. With the $50 license, your updates last forever. But both licenses are really forever licenses because they don't make you stop using it. Too much stuff to play on Big Box before getting a Switch. That's funny. And that price hasn't changed in a very very long time, and I don't think it's going to change for a very long time either. We're keeping those price points. I'm happy with those price points. So you can expect those to be stable for quite a while. It's not fun to change them, you know. And we did have to change them early on, and it was annoying, and people got pissed off. Of course, anytime you increase the price of anything, people get pissed off. But I'm happy where they're at right now. I'm not a ring girl, I'm a game girl. Want to buy a big box license, but only have a PayPal account. You don't have that option. Yeah, unfortunately, PayPal is scum of the earth and refuses to work with us, and that's a big, long, dramatic thing. I wish we could support PayPal. I'm sorry for that, but we can't for several reasons. And the most important one is PayPal just refuses it. So that's a big, long story, and there's an article on the forums about it. But PayPal has a history of screwing everybody over, customers and merchants alike. So just don't try and avoid them if you can. I'm sorry though. That I know it makes it difficult for people who are from other countries that don't have any other options. I wish we. That's the main reason why I wish we supported PayPal. The only reason why I wish we were able to support PayPal is to help people who are in different countries be able to purchase it without that don't have a credit card, especially. That's the biggest issue. Shall we play the game? $800 for 1 year and $10,000 for lifetime. Inflation. Agreed, Camel. Ryan. We do Bitcoin, yes. So that is always a possibility. The problem with Bitcoin is it's literally a pain in the butt. Unless you know what you're doing. We have a lot of people who try and use Bitcoin for the first time run into issues because of the exchange rates and all that stuff, and they get so confused. I wish it was an easier process, because it's just I love the fact that I love Bitcoin's efforts. I love what they're trying to do. I just wish it worked a little bit better and a little bit easier. But I know it's a pipe dream at that point, probably. Goodness. All right. All right, back to work here. So, threading. Ultimately, what we need to do is we start with, this is where we need to put it, right in here. And I'm going to say int thread count equals environment.processor count -1. That's what tells us how many hyper-threaded cores are available on the user's computer, and we're gonna have threads for each one of them except for one, because one will be running the main UI thread. And we just for safety purposes, if the thread count is less than 1 and for some reason it can't come up with the proper thread count, we set the thread count equal to 1 to make sure there is at least one thread. And the count is the number of files. Although we don't really need that variable because it's all right there. Now files it's an array, so we can just use length on that. And then we're going to do, oh, actually we do need a count. We need int count equals files.length divided by the thread count plus 1. That basically specifies how many are going to run on each thread, how many different operations are going to run on each thread. And then we're going to say var threads equals new list of thread, which will create basically a list that we can store all our threads in. Then we're going to do a for loop. And go through each one of these threads. And we need a new list of items we're going to do just for this thread. We're going to say var thread files equals files. We're going to use link here dot skip I times count dot take count dot to list. So that will get us, that'll skip the number that we're going to skip. It'll take the number that we need and give us a list that we can process through. And then we need to add the thread to actually run the process. So we're going to say threads.add new thread, and then what we do inside of the thread is we're going to we've got this stuff going on here. Really, I mean, we should filter these before we run this stuff. And we don't need to start extra threads if, yeah, if the number here to run is less than the thread count, then we should probably restrict that. So I'm going to do that as well. But I should restrict this first. I'm going to say dot where force reload all, or wait a minute, first off we need this dot get platform file changed path dot get file name f. Okay, and that will basically restrict the things we're going to process to only ones that we actually need to reload. Okay, and then we've got our thread count here. And underneath that, we check to make sure it's at least 1. Then what we're going to say is if files.count, what do we do if files.count is 0, for one thing? I see. We need to do a to list on this. Files.count is greater than 0. I guess if files.count is less than thread count, then I'm going to set the thread count equal to files.count. So we don't have more threads than we have files. Then in here, I'm going to move this code. And count equals files.count, since we changed this to a list, divided by thread count plus 1. We instantiate our threads. We loop through. Okay, I am slowly running behind here on the comments, so let me catch up on that before we... Ghetto Android, we do support Bitcoin. That's available right now. Hey, Slip System. Yes, you can use a custom library background per system. There is a way to do that, Alexander. You basically just have to use the platform fan art for it, and then in your priorities, your image priorities, disable all the game backgrounds, and that'll be what you want. We're threading loading, basically, is what we're threading, Camel. So anytime things are reloaded, that's what we're threading. We're threading loading the games. Sell license keys over phone apps. Interesting. That's not a bad idea. Wouldn't be easy either, but that makes sense. Knocking in the background? Knocking on the desk, probably. Platform category clear logos per theme. Currently only works in the root images folder. Yeah, that makes sense. Wait, but platform category clear. Oh, categories. Sure, yeah, it doesn't support categories yet. That makes sense. Yeah, Elite, that I definitely need to do that. You're right. I'm not sure how quick I'm going to get that done, but that's on the list. Back with food. Thank you, Ryan. I haven't been able to replicate that at all, Camel. But yeah, uh, I remember hearing about that. Neil K. I'm not gonna be doing that stuff. The I numerable as parallel stuff. Oh, Android release. Where did that come from? Linux, hey Ricardo, Linux version of LaunchBox. I would love to create a Linux version of LaunchBox, especially because I'm getting a little bit upset about the privacy issues in Windows, as I previously discussed. That said, there's a reason why development is so fast on Windows, and it's because Microsoft wins at development. Microsoft's development tools are better than anybody's development tools, hands down, like 10 times over. So developing something for Linux would be a royal pain in the butt. Um, Big Box is as good as it is, and it's developing as fast as it is because of Windows. Microsoft just wins at development, and they provide these tools that nobody else has that makes it so much better to develop on. So porting it would be a very, very difficult thing to do. It's not to say we couldn't do it. Eventually, we could. However, at this point in time, I don't think it's going to happen. It might happen at some point in the future. The other problem with porting it to Linux is it has to be financially feasible, and I'm not so sure it would be financially feasible for us to do that. But I would love to do it just for my own personal use. Even I would love to have it to be able to throw it on non-Windows devices would be amazing. But so I'm with you guys. I'm a Linux lover myself. I've used Linux off and on for years and years and years. But when it comes down to the development tools and the fact that it would be a complete rewrite, so it's just not easy. It's a whole lot easier to develop Big Box on Windows than it is on Linux or Mac or anything else. So that's the fact of the matter. Come on, Stipulus, play nice. I don't sit still, guys. I can't sit still. Camel. Hey, Ali. I didn't mention you, but maybe somebody else did and I missed it. Thank you, Elite. I appreciate that. I do need reminders from time to time. Okay, Neil K. Yeah, I'm not gonna take a look at that right this instant, just because I'm in the middle of this code. But I'll have to take a look at that here soon. Remind me somehow or other. Honestly, guys, the best way to get a hold of me if I can't tackle someone on the stream, is hit me up with a forum message, because I go through those on a regular basis, and I don't miss any. So you can do that. Email, I get so many emails, it's just insane. So I've been trying to, and then also basically all the support emails that come in go through Kirsten, and then they reach me if necessary. Just because we got so much coming in, I would never get anything done if I answered everything directly. So, but the forum messages do work. That's cool, Ricardo. Yes, I shaved the beard. It started to get annoying, so I shaved it off. I don't like the way I look without the beard, but I can't just keep letting it grow forever. So my lazy way of dealing with it is just to hack it off once every few months, you know. Go for it, Neil K. Yeah, feel free. That'd be awesome. Imposter! I missed the beard already, guys. You don't got to keep rubbing it in. Oh, man. All right. Yeah, I agree, though. I don't like the way I look as much without the beard. I'm with you guys. That's how I am, too. But, eventually it gets annoying, and I just want to chop it all off and then start over. But it'll be back. It'll be back in a couple weeks. All right, so we got our thread files. And this is where we actually run our process. We've taken care of this line right here, so all we need to do is call load games for each file. So what we're going to do, we're just going to do it all inline here. We're going to say for each string file in thread files, this.loadGames file. That's what we run on each thread. And I do need to make sure that that is thread safe and all that stuff, but I'll come back to that. But that defines all our threads. Then I'm just going to copy this code here. We start all the threads, and we join all the threads. Okay. And we can do that. Just change this to count. We no longer need this block. But I do believe that's it. Assuming there's no threading issues, I think that'll work. But this could crash in big nastiness. We'll see. But I'm going to build it and we'll see what happens. Okay, here goes. Yep, we already have an error here. The given key was not present in the dictionary. So we got some kind of threading issue or something. I'm going to go ahead and walk through this so I have an idea where the error is. It's curious. We have 41 files, 7 threads. So our count per thread is 6 files to load. We have 7 threads because I have a quad core processor with hyperthreading, so that's ultimately 8 total threads minus 1 Gives us our 7. We loop through this stuff. The thing is, we're going to want to skip down to here. When we start the threads, we need to, obviously the issue is going to be in the load games method. So let's walk through the first one there and see where we're running into our issue. We're doing all this stuff all at once, which is really going to be annoying to troubleshoot. I'm just going to go ahead and run it. Yeah, this isn't, because of the multi-threaded nature of this, it's going to be annoying. Are you going to give me where the error is? There it is. So we are still in the load games method. This.platform titles. So basically, I'm guessing this.platform titles is not thread safe. It is. It's a concurrent dictionary. But we're probably not using, we're not using it in a thread safe manner. That's the issue. So we need to do something about that. Really, I should review all this code and make sure we're doing everything in a thread safe way. But platform titles, we can't use contains key and then expect it to be there, because that's the trick. It's not thread safe when we do that. So what we need to do is use try get value methods. Out. Platform titles, platform. Now this is a dictionary that it's returning. Okay, that's tricky. So we need a concurrent dictionary of string game. Concurrent dictionary of string game. Actually, in theory, I think I can build this right into the new. Why are you doing that? No. Titles. Okay. So we get rid of this. Valid title. And then instead of doing this, we need to say if titles contains key valid title. And again, we have another thing where we need to change this up to be threaded properly. So if I think we need a game. Well, we can do it in the, so if titles dot try get value valid title out game. No. Thing is, we already have a game, so how's that work? Let's just use G, whatever. And I'm missing a parentheses. We'll get rid of all of that. And wait a second. Oh, I see. Okay. We leave that line, then we change this to just G. And then this is back in titles. And then if it couldn't parse it, we do the try add, which should be safe. We need the dictionary though. So var dictionary equals this guy. And then dictionary. That should make it thread safe in theory for that particular section. Let's see what happens. Here it goes. No errors. It loads. How much quicker is it? That's the question. Let's do a stopwatch. Start, open. It was only about a second quicker on my machine, which isn't. Yeah, it's not as much as I was hoping. But I guess playlist takes longer, so maybe we should see what we can do with that next. It is, but a second is a second, and on people's machines that have a lot more stuff, it will help. Or lower end hardware, it should help in theory. Although I was hoping for more of an improvement than that. Let's see. Catch up on comments. Just trim your beard every few weeks instead of shaving it. Problem with that is that takes skill, and I don't have any skill. Nor do I. That's more effort than just shaving it all off. Thank you, Ricardo. For his kids. Grow it out, tear it down, regrow, repeat. Yep. Take it easy, 00. We're already using concurrent dictionaries, Neil K. Yep, we're in C#. Nice, Kill Toy. Pac-Man. Yep, I've got everything on an SSD for LaunchBox. The thing is, all right. Well, okay. So I've got crappy tools then. I just need some better tools, perhaps. But knowing me, I would mess it up, Camel. I would mess it up. Yeah, I'm disappointed that that only cut off a second. I don't understand. Then again, I mean, if you're looking at the 2, 3, so it's 3 seconds total to load the games. So we probably cut off 25% of it, but I was expecting more than that. But I don't know. Not quite sure. I guess I mean, there's always overhead when you do threading. And the other thing is, it's not going to. It's only as fast as the slowest platform. So considering arcade is probably taking the longest, I suppose it's possible that we could speed it up more if we did better thread calculations. In other words, we figured out how to put the large platforms on different threads, because that matters. But at the same time, that's tricky. Somebody's talking to me here. The other thing is, I should really go through this and make sure there's not any other possible threading issues, because just because I didn't run into them doesn't mean that they don't exist. This should be fine. I mean, we're using it only on one thread, so that should be fine. Read the XML. It's fine. Okay, this is the stuff I should probably be more concerned about, but probably not, because it's all just local. And as long as it's not referenced from any other threads, we should be fine. This.games, of course, is a concurrent dictionary. So yeah, I think we're fine. So that's good. At least I'm pretty sure we didn't break anything. But, we'll find that out later after we put out a beta and 10,000 people knock on the door saying, "You broke my LaunchBox!" Let's hope not. So then, the other thing to look at, we're going to move on from that from now, and we're going to take a look at the playlist thing. 2, 3, so like 2 or 3 seconds. Playlists is probably more like, let me try that again. 2, 3. The playlist is more like 5 seconds, so that's taking even longer. Gamer Baby. I'm gonna change the color of the background. That's a premium only feature, but it's a matter of just doing it in the options. It's easy. Well, hopefully that helps then, Camel Spit. We'll see once I put it out, but we'll keep going. We're not done here. Pac-Man, if you want to send me your large library, or Camel, if you want to send me your large library, whatever, I'll run it through and I mean, I have it somewhere probably, but I probably deleted it honestly. So if you guys want to resend it to me, I can test with it. Nope, not for Mac yet, unfortunately, Jojo. My library is 14,000 right now. 14,000 games. What takes longer? LaunchBox to load or inserting a game cart? That's funny. Yeah, Charco, exactly. We're working on startup time performance. Actually, Camel, don't post it to the beta thread. Just send it to me in a PM because we've discovered that there's some security issues with posting collections straight up with settings included and all that stuff online because there's like the EMI movie stuff in there, and although it's encrypted, you don't want to. Yeah, that's still minor security risk. So binary beard. I like that, Keltoy. You could. Let me hop on the forums here and look for Camel's message. In the meantime, I can try and find where we're going to do the playlist caching, and that is actually that should be after the data manager completely loads. So um, and I think this is actually it's in two different places. It's in the big box startup as well as the LaunchBox startup. So I have to do it both places. But this is where we do it. The get game count will ultimately populate all the games as well. But it looks like, in theory, I should be able to just... I don't know, the threading might be an issue, but I don't think so. Because I think this should already be thread safe. So that might be easier than the other one even, which is good. Although we might want to put it out in a method. There's Camel's data. Poopy poopy doo doo is what he says. Poopity poopity doo doo. Okay. So I'm going to extract his data here, and then I'm going to grab... We need a new copy of the official release first so we can time the official release. So let me run a setup for that. Okay, 7.9. Let's install this to d:/test. Come on, guy. Okay. And we'll just drag over Camel's data into that folder. Here we go. Start her up. This is the, I should have timed it. What am I doing? This is the 7.9 release with Camel's data. But I'm going to have to do it again to time it. There it goes. All right. Let's try it again and time it up here. Oh, I started my collection like an idiot. Darn it. All right. Here we go. So it's about 22 seconds, 22, 23 seconds for loading the games. So we'll say 22.5 seconds. And then we'll go ahead and copy the new stuff over to it. And we'll try it again. Here we go. Yeah, 13 seconds. That's much better. So we went from 22.5 to about 13, actually 12 seconds because I didn't take off a second from the time it took me to start it up. So yeah, we cut it almost in half for a large collection, which is good. That's a big deal. That's a big deal. That's good. That's just for the loading games part of it. Start it up again. And you'll notice the caching playlists in Camel's collection doesn't take any longer than it does in mine. So for him, we already did the important thing. We cut that populating games time in half, almost, anyways. And he's got 52,000 games. That makes sense. Let me catch up on comments. Keltoy, EMI movies having different CRC values basically was it was bad code on my part. I figured out a bug that was causing it. Although it looks like there might be another bug that I need to address on the forums somehow or other. Somebody's reported. So I'll be looking into that shortly. Probably before the next beta goes out. Pac-Man, maybe the EMI Movies credentials could be encrypted along with the user's license file. So LaunchBox Big Box would still be portable, but the settings XML encrypted EMI Movies credentials would be useless without the license file. Not a bad idea. Believe it or not, we do something similar to that already, Pac-Man. However, I don't want to go into the details of what we do for security reasons. But if I remember correctly, we're doing something very similar to that already. That said, I don't want that stuff out there for people to hack at, you know what I mean? So, is it safe right now? Yeah, it should be. But, you know, I just don't want to risk it. Up, up, down, down, left, right, BA, start. I'm not your buddy guy. What are you talking about, Kiltoy? Just keep pressing fire. You must have slow hardware, Dave. That's all I could say there. If you only got 4,500 games and it's taking 20 seconds to start up, that's not right. Yeah, a much bigger improvement. And I knew that would be the case with a bigger collection. That only makes sense. The beardless coder does it again. Yeah, good stuff. I'm glad we got that in there. Thank you, Trout. Huge misstep. Brad, what are you doing on this stream, Brad? Yeah. Excuses, Brad. Working on stuff. What do you think we're doing over here? We're working on stuff. No, I'm just kidding. So, playlists. Here we go. We got to do the same threading stuff for the playlists and see what happens. I need to create a method. Probably in the root class. Just add a public static void pre-cache playlists. And I'm going to go... No, I don't want the data manager. What happened to my program class? There it is. And I'm going to say root.precache playlists. In here, And then back in here, we're going to paste that code, and we need to thread this. The other thing is, in the big box startup process, I need to call this as well. This is an app. There it is. It's the same code. So we're going to go root.precache playlists instead. And now both of them will use this method here. And we need to add the caching code. Oh man. This is working for Brad. Brad's probably going to bill me for the time here. No, I'm just joking. Brad is really, really nice to me, actually, as far as what he bills and all that stuff. I got to stop giving Brad a hard time because he doesn't deserve it. He works his butt off for us. He really does. So again, the same type of stuff. I'm sure I could copy paste a lot of this stuff, but I'm not gonna. Int count. No, first off we need thread count. Yeah, this stuff here. And then int count equals playlists is a good, it's a concurrent dictionary. Although I think I want to make this like local just in case. No, that doesn't matter because this is all happening in a single thread at this point. So count is root.datamanager.playlists.count divided by thread count minus 1. Okay, and our threads. Then we want thread playlists equals root.datamanager.playlists.values.skip I times count .take count.toList. Then threads.add new thread. We want to basically just, well, we need to do a for each as well. So for each var playlist in thread playlists, we call this line right here. So we have our threads. We start and we join them, and we're done. Except the one thing, what if we have less playlists than threads? We need to take a look at that. So if, well, first off, if root.datamanager.playlists.count equals 0, let's just return. And if root.dataManager. No, if thread count is greater than root.datamanager.playlist.count, then we're going to say thread count equals root.datamanager.playlist.count. And I think that's it. Let's build it and see what happens. If only. Not bad, Poke. That should be a nice win for performance all around, I would expect. I'm not your guy, friend. No downloading of libraries will commence today. 10 years younger without the beard, yep. Except for my balding head. Yes, your avatar did pop up there in the corner to say hi. You're giving people ideas, Neil K. I'm just kidding. Alright, so we are built. Let's see what happens. I don't know. It was like 3 seconds before, or 5 seconds doing the... Whoa! Bam! Like that, it was done. Well, that's good. You'll notice, you remember before it was, I mean, it just bam, bam, bam. In a heartbeat went through that stuff. Sentai Brad is trying to reach you. Brad, you poop licker. Seriously. I am on away. How the heck did you do that? Oh, man. Pizza Side 2. Ooh, I want to see that, Kilto. I haven't seen that yet. Yeah, poop licker is the endearing term I use for my entire family when somebody makes me angry. I call them a poop licker. Although, I don't know that I've ever referred to Brad as a poop licker before. But, you know, it works. Secret Slack secrets, apparently, yes. Alright. Well, this is awesome, though. Look at this. It was like 5 seconds before, and now it's like nothing. I almost don't believe that it worked. But if these load up halfway quick, then it definitely did. And they do. That's good. Awesome. So, might as well do it with Camel's collection here. Let's get the updated stuff. Metadata. Games is still going to take like 12 seconds. Yeah, it was nice and quick loading the playlists. Bingo! That's awesome. That makes me happy. Look at that, guys. We're only an hour and a half in, and we've already improved the startup time tremendously. Probably cut it in half at this point. If I timed the whole process, what were we at? We were at like 11 seconds or something like that. Originally with mine. Let's test it out now. Yeah, we're at 5 seconds. No, really like 4 seconds. Let's try that again. That makes me happy. Timed it directly on the 3. Yeah, we're at 4 seconds. Woo! So that's more than half even for my collection. That makes me happy. Really makes me happy. Too fast to measure. Well, yeah, the next thing, obviously the bottleneck at this point is still loading the games. So that still takes too long loading the games for large collections. So if I'm going to keep focusing on performance here, the next thing to do would be to load up the my .trace performance, whatever it is, trace application, and figure out what's taking the longest time. For Camel's instance, we would use Camel's because his collection is much bigger. And time that particular section and see what's taking up the most resources and see what we can do to speed it up. So that's what we'll do next. Why not? See if there's anything we can do to speed it up more. But I'm glad I'm kind of amazed things went that well that quick. That's good. Let's go .trace. Brad, it just means you love me. You consider me family. Oh. Power of concurrent programming. Yes, it will reflect big box as well. As a matter of fact, let's test big box. This is a good point. So if we didn't do a test for the previous releases, but we can time them to see how they compare to LaunchBox here. Starting my timer. 3 seconds, I start it up. So it was loaded in about 6 seconds for me. Between 6 and 7. See how that feels. Although I'm not sure, I might have a delay on that video. No, I think it's cutting it off. I'm on videos? No. Where is it? Minimum start. Okay, yeah, no delay. So that's... You gotta remember it's playing the video and everything else at the same time for the big box startup. And this takes performance to play the video. So we're probably even losing a thread. But it is quicker. Slightly. Which is good. Alright. Now we want to try Camel's setup here and see how long his takes. Oh, we don't have a license in there yet. So let me just copy my license over to it. So it looks like about, doing math in my head, about 18 seconds, something like that, for Camel's collection to load big box, and it actually loaded up on the other monitor because of his settings. But that's why you guys couldn't see it load, but yeah, it was about 18 seconds. Not too bad. I don't know what he was getting before, but... Initializing big butts. Yeah, on Ryzen, what would happen? It should, in theory, to be doing 16 threads, so... Good question. I like big bucks, and I cannot lie. Then them other brothers can't deny. Call my son a funky butt or a frat doodle nugget? For doodle? I don't. Oh man. For doodle nugget. I like funky butt better, Camel. What's going on?
I got some stuff for you.
Well, I'm streaming. What do you need? Is it food?
I got some stuff for allergies and some grinds for you.
All right. Well, I'll get it later, honey, if that's okay.
Okay.
I love you.
I'm just gonna put it in your box out here.
Okay. My collection's only got about 14,000 games, McTurbo. Glad to hear it, Pure Luck. Therac 25. I can only imagine what could have happened in that article. Now I'm curious. Jade. The startup performance doesn't. Images don't really affect the startup performance because the images aren't. Nothing image-wise is loaded until you see something on the screen. So that shouldn't matter in that particular case. Oh, Keltoy. Yes, I haven't upgraded yet. I'm sorry, man. I need to do that. It's still on my plate. It shouldn't take 10 seconds to select a playlist in Big Box. I don't know. Somebody needs to send me a library where it takes 10 seconds to select a playlist in Big Box. And then I'll dive into that. If somebody wants to send me, that's something that needs to be worked on, sure. If somebody wants to send me data, send it to me as a PM, Neil K. And I'll test it out. And if it takes like 5 seconds plus or something like that, then I'll definitely look into it. I've already started working on the database, Brad. I had to put in significant work on that already for the duplicate images stuff. But I'll be getting back to that here soon. For a doodle nugget. For a doodle nugget. Yeah, that's hilarious. Is it food? Yes. No, the kids aren't even home. The pie is back. Naked cartwheels. DJ Quad, yes, we could. Although I try and avoid like people having significant delays when they're navigating in the interface, and that's why we do so much at startup. The other thing is I can't. Well, yeah, I could load up only certain platforms, but I just If I do that, then people are going to be waiting in the interface at some point. Camels does that? Okay, where does it do that? Cool, Keltoy, I'll do that. You guys whine a lot. Holy crap. Camel says, you made it faster, but it's not great. I'm working on this, guys. I'm working on it. Chill out, man. Chill out. So are there big things happening for 8.0? We're on 7.10. We're going to keep going on the 7-point series things for now. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's all is going to happen for 8.0. I haven't decided that yet, looked into it yet. It'll probably be stuff from the poll, but Big Box opening a playlist. All right. Well, I'll go check that out. I know, Camel. I'm sorry. I was being mean. I'll be nicer. All right. So, start up Camel stuff, and you guys are saying that loading a playlist is slow. It's on the wrong screen. Let me see if I can move this over so you guys can see it. Go into the options, and my comments are in the way. Oh, we got a lot of people watching right now. We got 74 people. That's awesome. Well, thanks, guys. Thanks. Now I've got the wrong thing focused. Where is it in general? Yeah. Primary screen. There we go. Okay. So now loading a playlist. Where are your playlists? Do you have them under arcade? So loading up a playlist. Camel, what's slow? What's slow? Tell me where to go. If I load up Capcom CPS 2, no issues speed-wise. Atari Classics, no issues speed-wise. I assume it's a dynamically populated playlist that you're having issues with. I guess let's go to View Playlists. I don't see anything but the arcade ones. Nice and quick. Platform categories. Ah, okay. Well, that makes a little bit more sense. So we go to consoles. 2. So 2 seconds. What's the problem here, guys? We go to arcade. So less than 2 seconds. But I know that that is a pain point. Even though it's only, I mean, it's less than 2 seconds on my system, I understand that depending on your hardware, it could be a lot more. So yes, we do need to look into that, and I will. As a matter of fact, that would be a good idea to tackle on this stream. Because I get it. You know, I can sit here and say, oh, it's 2 seconds on my system. But I know not everybody has as fast a system as I do. So, yeah, I'll take a look at that. And it was, honestly, it was already on my plate to take a look at that, guys, because I am aware of it. I know that it is slower than pretty much everything else in Big Box right now when loading this up. And the reason for that, the reason why it takes longer is because it's loading up all the playlists that are underneath it so it can do the calculations. Calculating, like, the total games and stuff like that. So I need to speed that up. So I'll do that. That makes sense. We can focus on that on the stream. I think I might go back and see if we can speed up the startup performance, though, here anymore first. Tutorial for installing LaunchBox on the GPD Win. Honestly, you don't need a tutorial. There's nothing unique about it. It's literally just exactly the same as anything else. You're running Windows, so there's no need for a tutorial really outside of the video I already made, honestly. Hey, Nicolaj. Neil K. I don't know what you're talking about with playlists, so please send me some data if you're saying playlists are slow. I have fast hardware, but nothing that special, guys. I mean, I'm just running a 6700K. That's it. It could be images slowing it down, but if you look at my collection, it's even faster. So, and I've got all the images, so I doubt that. I think it's just hardware, honestly. If we go into arcade, it takes less than a second to load it up for me. Although I do realize, like I said, again, it's a performance issue, so I'll look into that. An i7 doesn't mean anything though, Neil. Depending on the generation, you know, if you're on an i7 that's 2 or 3 generations old, then that's going to make a big difference in performance. Eight seconds when you select a platform type. Sure. Okay. Well, obviously we need to work on that then. Point 2 on mine. No, RAM isn't going to make any difference. It's all CPU for that. All CPU. I'm pretty sure it's not images causing any issues there. How dare you are like the 10th person to say that, Monkus. It's hilarious. Bunch of playlists under a custom platform category, like one that grabs all the Deus Ex games. It takes like 10 seconds. That's definitely CPU requirements there, but send me your data so I can test it, Neil K, and I'll see if I can speed it up any. Yeah, big box shouldn't it's not gonna use all that RAM, that's for sure. Oh yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, cleaning up images will help with performance, especially if you're bottlenecked by your disk. Sure, good to know, Pac-Man. That's still really stupid slow. But like I said, yeah, I was aware of that. Pac-Man was working with me on it previously. Thanks for reminding me, Pac-Man. But yeah, I'll get back to that. We'll get that improved. The playlist thing, though, there's only going to be so much we can do. If your CPU can't keep up, your CPU can't keep up. It has to populate the games, but it should be caching them at the same time. So I don't know why that would be. That doesn't really make any sense. So I need somebody who has that problem. Neil K, I've only heard that you have that problem. So if you can send me your data, I can look into it. Don't need any more startup examples, I don't think. But thank you, Gustarini. The difference, the 3930K is a far ways behind the 6700K. That's the difference. It really makes that much of a difference, I would expect. Oh, library size. Yeah, library size matters too, probably. I would imagine. Brad's probably right there. Although we loaded up to 50,000 games from Camel, and it loaded up in less than 2 seconds, so take it easy, Dave. FF Poke, I don't really know what you mean by Intel HD graphics there. Well, as far as what you mean, I know what Intel HD graphics are, but I don't know what you mean by manually setting something or other. Tried downloading a playlist from the forums into my data playlist folder, but the XML file just disappears. No, there shouldn't be any permissions or anything like that. That doesn't make sense. I don't know why that would happen, Charco. Microwave and vodka. VTech laptop. All right. How did you lost all your images due to an what the heck, Neil? You're giving me a heart attack here. What do you mean you lost all your images? I need to I'll look at that ticket, but talking about laptops that come with both Intel HD and Nvidia. I see, I get it. Yeah. Franco, rename all my ROMs to official database names. Sure. That's not likely to make it soon, although I agree that would be a neat thing to have. How does Big Box run on your XPS 13 with 4K? It doesn't run well at all on mine. It runs fine on mine, actually. But I haven't tried it in a while. But I didn't have any real issues with it. Every time I run it, it seems to run fine. Although it's not, the graphics aren't smooth. It's a little bit choppy, but it's not bad at all, actually. Oh, okay. I see, Neil. All right, I get it. Atom processor superior to all. Scanner keeps changing my games database IDs. I don't get that. I'll have to look into your ticket though. Massive playlist lag is somehow caused by images. Okay, so maybe we have a bug there. I need to look into, Neil. Huh. Caused by images. I'm gonna need to test that and get that fixed, Neil. So yeah, hit me up in a message and we can go through that. That doesn't make sense to me. So basically, I'm missing something. I need you to get me that somehow or other. But anyways, now that we're caught up on comments, let's go back through. I finally have dot trace open, and let's give it a test here. We want to. I'm going to use this with Camel Spit's collection here, and go ahead and test with LaunchBox. And give it a run, and we'll see what's taken up the majority of the time. Because this is what we're interested in here. So when it finishes populating games, I'm going to get the snapshot and wait. And we'll see what's taking up the most amount of time. Let's get that out of the way. Close out of this. Now here is our results. What do we got? Obviously we got a bunch of threads, as expected. This is one of the thread operations, and this is the load games. It's one of the load games threads. Read XML is taking up 37% of the time. There's not anything we can do to speed that up, unless I were to completely revamp the XML reading stuff. I'm using a .NET built-in method in order to do that, using the data set. Of course, there is more we could do to speed that up, but it would be significant. Load from data row. Yeah, there might not be much we can do here. Load from data row is my method though. But this is basically just setting values on a particular game. And nothing is big. So it's just having to do it all, and it adds up. Get custom attributes is taking a while. Although solving that is not going to improve performance very much. But this is reflection, get custom attributes. So that's something to look into. The game constructor is 4%. So that's like the worst thing I found there. Is this thread the same thing? I think it's, yeah, load games. Setting all the properties. Same deal. But obviously the load from data row method is the majority of the time is spent in that method. So anything we can do to speed that method up would be a big win. It's not obvious that there's anything we could do right now to speed that up, but it's worth looking into probably. Charco, if we had that auto renaming from the database, then it would solve all the issues with naming media for it to populate. That would be amazing. I don't follow, Charco. Renaming ROMs from the database. You have to remember that renaming ROMs from the database only works with certain platforms. Certain platforms it won't work with at all. So in no case would that solve all issues with anything, really. But then in because I mean, you got Windows games, you got Arcade, which you can't rename. You got DOSBox, you can't rename. There's a lot of platforms that you can't rename ROMs. Oh, really? Okay. Neil, interesting. Yeah, that is real. I do know about the platform category thing. We'll be looking into that for sure. That might be Neil. Who knows? That's weird though. Move to Windows ME. All right. Anyways, guys. So we'll look at the platform category thing in a second. For now, right now, what I want to do is see if we can do anything with this load from data row method to speed it up. Um, data item dot load from data row. Does anything override that? Oh, sure. This does. Interesting. What do we manually? Why are we doing that? There's a reason for that, but I don't remember why. Maybe for performance, actually. As we were doing a lot of this, the default method actually uses reflection to do this automatically, but then I've overridden it for games because reflection is slower than elsewhere. But then other than manually doing it. Huh. Yeah, we just set all the properties and we process everything. I don't know if there's any way to speed that up, really. The only other thing, when we were looking at this, get custom attributes was taken up 10%, which was 1.2 seconds. So the maximum we could shave off by looking into this is a second, really. But that guy is this. And that's what provides like everything. I mean, so yeah, that's not worth tackling. This is what matters, this method right here, and there's only so much we're going to be able to do. I'm not sure. Because really it's all in these parse methods and in the setters. I have an idea though that just popped in my head. So we'll look at if we take a look at this, these all add up. But all this, the get integer value, get nullable integer value, nullable datetime value, get Boolean value, get string value, datetime value, they're all towards the end. It's the setters that are taking up the majority of the time. So we can ignore all these methods on the right. It's the setters that matter. And if we go into the setters, this data manager.mark game platform changed, I'm guessing that's what's causing the majority of the time, because otherwise there's nothing else going on. So what if we could avoid doing that to speed it up? Because that is happening every single time we run this property. And if I dive into one of these setters, you'll notice that all the time is taken up by this mark game platform changed. Mark game platform changed. Mark game platform changed. It's all in there. So actually, on the initial load, this could have major performance wins if we can figure out what's taking out, and it's a contains that's causing it every single time. Contains. So on the initial, and the funny thing is, on the initial load, we don't need that stuff. So this has incredible amounts of promise, believe it or not. We just found something significant. Mark game platform changed. If we look at this code, it's this contains right here that is and this isn't even like legit. Game platforms changed is a thread safe case insensitive string collection. For one thing, this is bogus. We shouldn't even be using the contains. What we need is data manager. This isn't gonna do a whole lot, I don't think, but game platforms change.try add. Actually, that's, oh, this is a list though, isn't it? Yeah. It's not going to cause problems that way. There's no better way to do it with the list. But the thing is, the point is, we ought to be able to avoid calling this method when we first load things up. So how best to do that? And literally avoiding calling this method, we could seriously speed this up like a million times over, since the majority of it is happening in this particular method. Where was I though? It was in game. What happened to it? So if we the other thing I'm thinking is we could avoid calling the property on first load. Why are we calling the property? It shouldn't be necessary. So that's the easy solution. Where am I at? I'm looking for load from data row. Here we are. So here, first off, just use the variable directly instead. Favorite, show back, use DOSBox. Favorite. We're gonna, I mean, I could, most of this stuff doesn't matter, but why is that? Okay, that's just we don't need to worry about that because it's not in the XML. Favorite, now use DOSBox. I just want to make sure there's no other logic going on here before we do this. But I am betting that this is going to like make the biggest difference in the entire world, to be completely honest with you guys. I think it's going to matter a lot in startup performance. We also could run into some issues though. We're going to need some testing after doing this. But we might run into issues with things not saving the way they should be, but I don't think so. This is actually a big deal. I never realized that because I never tracked it this far. Hide, broken, clone of. I don't think it matters though. I think we'll be okay. ScumVM aspect correction, full screen, root folder, release year. Use ScumVM, date added, date modified. They're all the same from what I can tell. I don't think there's any of that, but I still need to check them all, unfortunately. Last played date, release date, star rating. Actually, I don't know that I checked release date. Star rating and play count. My eye is watering. I've got allergy issues. Star rating, play count. Application path. Command line. Do any of these have anything else? It doesn't look like it. Platform definitely does. Although that doesn't matter. This sort of does, although it should already be null if we're loading a new record. Same thing. Honestly, I don't think it matters. The ID, I better check on that one. Nothing there. Then what I can do, actually, you know, come to think of it, we need to look into this one. Instead of running it for all those operations, we can still run it once if we have any issue. So we're doing all this splitting up, which we can still do. That's not a problem. Whatever. LaunchBox database ID. I have a feeling, guys, that this is seriously going to make a humongous difference in startup performance. Okay, not a huge difference for me, although it was a difference. Let's check Camel's collection. We were looking at what, like 20 seconds? Or what was it? It was 12 seconds loading the games, I think. Still taking a while. 5 seconds. That's a big deal. Though. Yeah. How's that for progress, folks? Let's just hope we didn't screw anything up. Alright, let me catch up on some comments here. Hi, Jimmy. I'm not exactly sure on pinball yet. It was on the poll, and it didn't get a lot of interest, unfortunately, on the poll. Although I know we definitely need to do that, so we'll be doing it eventually, but I don't know exactly when. That's funny, totally radical, dude, because somebody else was just talking about that. No, right now there's no way to rename ROMs. But that isn't going to work everywhere, anyways, because you can't rename a lot of ROMs. You can't rename DOS games. You can't rename Windows games. You can't rename arcade games. So, I mean, unfortunately, it would work decently for some platforms, but not all of them. Snapshot videos are loading. Maybe. Wolf. We'll get there. Um, so, basically, at this point, huge gains in startup performance, from what I can tell. But I do need to test it and make sure we didn't break anything with that, with those changes. I don't think we did. I don't know why we would have. Yeah, I don't think there's anything else to do there. But that's big. Let's try big box. So that took around 11 seconds with Camel's collection. Let's check mine. Wow. Ha. That took like 4 seconds. That's pretty awesome. Video's too long now. That's hilarious. But I can always put it in a minimum video duration setting, of course. That's pretty awesome. Yeah, that the games load up in like 1 or 2 seconds now. Wow. I'm glad I found that. I didn't expect to. That's pretty awesome. Huh. Amazing. This is Camel's collection with 50,000 games. Yeah, games load up in just a few seconds and we're ready to go. Well, sweet. Neil K, I don't know, man. I kind of disagree with that because uh, you have to remember, you got to remember about threads. So like CPU may not be a bottleneck. You're basically the CPU is commonly a bottleneck for LaunchBox when it's using a single threaded situation. So obviously you got to look at the single thread Yeah, the percent per core. Sure, okay. Not total. That makes sense. Yeah, I'm excited to get this out, guys. I'm kind of in shock that we got it to be that low. I'm also a little bit worried that we screwed something up, but I don't think we did, honestly. I don't know how I looked over that the first time I did this, frankly, to be honest. Kind of embarrassed from that perspective, but I'm glad um, that I've got it figured out here. I'm curious to see, where the performance is now if we run another trace. Let's go ahead and do that and see what we get. Okay, so there's our results. What is this? Get out of there. Okay. Still in load games. So now we are at the point where read XML is taking up the majority of the time, 60%. 21% in load from data row. So that's been significantly reduced. Get custom attributes is just basically using the reflection is slowing us down a little bit. Although we don't use reflection for the games, we use it for the other stuff. I'm not sure that's going to be worth it, really. But that would, if we got rid of using reflection, we could potentially save a second off of that load. Of course, this is internal .NET code, so there's not a lot we're going to be able to do with that. Unless we replace the XML stuff, which I might do it at a later date. Although, honestly, that's going to be a major job. That's not going to be simple. It's going to be, because, we got to make sure, we're going to have to figure out how to make sure the XML structure stays exactly the same, which is, honestly, somewhat of a nightmare. So, certainly not something I'm going to be able to tackle today or in any single stream. So, we have this load from data row method. Again, get custom attributes. And the other load from data row method from, this is the one that we actually worked on, is down to practically nothing. Set genre string is taking up the most amount of time. So we could still, and we're calling mark game platform change. So if there's, that would help if we got rid of that, but that's only 100 milliseconds. Yeah. So there's more that can always be done, but at this point it would be a lot of extra effort for not a lot of improvement, I think. So I'm happy with that for now. The other thing was we were going to look into was the platform category stuff. So we can go ahead and look into that. Cancer treatment machine. Thanks, Neil. The beard was holding you back. That's hilarious. Team thought about including alternative spelling in the LaunchBox database. For a few instances, I noticed most noticeably is anything Pokemon without using the E. Sure. Well, that we have alternate titles, and we're working on. We could use alternate titles that way. I know the E thing is an annoying issue that we need to solve elsewhere. The issue is the characters aren't liked, so it can't parse it if the characters are in there. So that's a different issue to solve. But so adding misspellings, I don't know, maybe. but we definitely need to get the alternate titles in LaunchBox so we can use them. Be nice, Stiflus. All right. So, performance on, and we've got a half an hour left. We might be able to work through the performance issues on the platform categories potentially. So we should use Camel's collection for that and see what is causing any performance issues there. If we load up Arcade, it takes a second before it actually loads it up. Wow, and it messed up the background that time. Interesting. All right. Anyways, let me start up a trace on that on bigbox.exe so we can test that and figure out what's taking the most. Oh, I didn't want to, crap. I didn't want to start it immediately. Let's just kill it and start over here. Turn that off and try it again. Let's move this to the other screen. Big Box is a little bit harder to work with because we got so much else going on, like graphics wise, but we'll see what we can figure out here. I'm gonna go ahead and start it now. Now we'll wait and we'll see what we get. Basically what that is, Camel, is that's VLC not being able to keep up because of other resources getting in the way. If so, I mean, and there's literally nothing I can do about that. That's a VLC issue. So you can always switch to Windows Media Player, but there's like zero things I can do about that, unfortunately. It basically, if things are if your computer is choking, that's what happens. Hey, Dark King. You look way better with beard. I know, man. I know. We've been over that in this thread a few times now. I agree. I totally agree. It was getting annoying. Thank you, Pac-Man. Good to know. Yeah, VLC by default does not use codec packs. It doesn't. There might be a way to make it use codec packs. I'm not sure, but it just doesn't. It's every codec it uses is built in, at least by default. All right, so the main thread populate. I'm not sure if this is where it is. It's calling a save in another thread. Selection change timer elapsed. That's just sleep, basically. So that is definitely not it. Video lock callback. This is basically probably video code, so we can ignore that. This is just WPF built-in code. We can ignore that. Delay dispose on video. Again, we can probably ignore all this stuff. That's just a quick thing anyways. And this is the same deal. Disposing old videos. This is likely... Oh, this is thread.sleep the entire time, so we don't care about that. So it's in one of these top 3 threads. The selection change timer elapsed. This is only 700 milliseconds. Basically, this is what runs, well, and 96% of it is sleep. So again, we can ignore that entire thread. This is the save operation. It saves in the background when you go in to save the last one that was used. I don't think the issue is in here because this is happening in a different thread. And look, again, 91% of it is sleep. So once again, that doesn't apply. So it's definitely in this particular thread here, the main thread. And it's the key press. It's in this populate method. Platform wheel filters viewModel base dot populate. So let's load that up. We can exit big box here. And you go to the big box project, platform, it's filters view models, platform filters view model base populate. What, there is no populate? That doesn't make any sense. Oh, platform wheel filters view model base. So this is the method. How can we speed this up and what's taking the most time? Obviously, it's the to list. So something populating our filters is we have all these to list methods in here. So it's where we populate our platforms. And we go through, and we are going to be on platform categories. So we're going to get in here, and it's going to be get cached platform categories dot cast dot to list. Oh no, it's this. We're going through all the platforms dot where where the game count is greater than 0. Sure. And platform.category is not equal to null. And platform.category.equals. So I'm guessing it's this get game count method. Yeah, of course. So it's definitely the get game count method that's doing it. The thing is, basically, we're checking to make sure the platform has games in it. Although I think there's a better way to do that. I think I added something to do that, didn't I? Something like has games or something. I added that on playlists though. It's not a curiosity. Public bool has games. Bool include hidden. This will help, I think. Return root.datamanager.games.values.any game. And then we can just copy the rest of this. It's all the same. Because any is going to... Oh, no, we don't want... I see. I see. So, include... So we got game. Include hidden or not game.hide. And game.platform is not equal to null and game.platform.equals. Now, if we use that method instead, I bet that speeds things up quite a bit. Because it doesn't have to loop through everything in order to get there. Although, it might not be that big of a difference either. The other thing we should probably do is cache this somehow or other. Wait a minute, we already have p.hasGames. Oh, this is playlists. Yeah, and so I already did this for playlists, but I didn't do it for platforms. That makes sense. So we need to replace this with hasGames. Okay, and then also I should be... There's other places I need to look for the same code. But we'll see what happens here. Let's build it and see if that helps much for the for that particular use case. All right, we're built. We're going to go into here and copy it out into Camel's collection. And give it a test. Okay, here we go. So it's still messed up the video, irritatingly. But it's less than a second now. It's certainly much quicker. So yeah, that's worth doing. And there may be a way to speed up that hasGames method even further by caching it, but we need to make sure we're using that everywhere possible. So I'm going to go to this getGameCount method. There's 5 references to it right now. And we need to check to see if any of these can be replaced with hasGames. Yep, right here it can. And here as well. All right, and we'll go back. There's now 3 references on getGameCount. This is the first one. Again, same thing. I might be able to completely eliminate that method. These are the overrides on platform category and playlist. So ultimately, that's it. So that does help quite a bit. Although I'd like to have it be even more performant. And so right now for the playlist, we're caching the playlist, but we aren't caching the platforms. So if we were to figure out how to cache the platform game counts on startup like we cache the playlist game counts, then in theory it could be, instantaneous. Let's catch up on comments here. First or default not equal to null. Sure. I think any should do the same thing ultimately, but I don't know. Huh. Your cat is running off with your screwdrivers. What the heck? That's funny. All right. Well, I'm curious to see like how this improves performance for folks with who are experiencing the slow stuff. Um, I think this will help out a lot. There is more that can be done, of course. So I should probably figure that out, but it's going to take some time in order to do that. The whole to make it cache like playlists are caching on startup, or I guess really I should just do it. It wouldn't necessarily have to be on startup, although then the first time you do it, it's going to be quicker. Otherwise, it's going to happen. You're going to have a delay the first time you do it. If we do it on startup, though, we can do it in a threaded fashion. The other thing is you have to keep the hidden stuff, include hidden, all that stuff. So yeah, I don't know. I think I might just leave it like this and see how performance is for people with this change. I'm curious how it is in my collection now. Yeah, pretty much instantaneous. Although it was pretty much instantaneous before too. Cool. Rebuilding a laptop is not easy either, Keltoy. That's funny. Do it in the background, yeah. Similar to the way we do caching images in LaunchBox. No, Giant. I haven't heard anything from Giant Titan on that. I'm not sure if he has interest in building more for stuff that's not default supported in Big Box. That would be up to him. Cool, Pac-Man. Hey, Medusa. Not really sure what you're saying, but welcome anyways. Performance stuff, PC player. I'm gonna let you guys go. It was a good stream. Thank you, everybody. Once again, we seem to have the best performance increases live on stream here, so that's great. We got startup performance for LaunchBox and Big Box, seemingly way more than cut in half. I mean, big deal. Where were we at with Camel's collection? I don't know. We were at like 30 seconds before. I can't remember exactly, but it's pretty quick now. Definitely more than cut in half. So that's a win. And then we also worked on the performance of the platform category stuff, and the performance was a lot smaller or a lot quicker for me on that on my system. So it's going to be hard to tell how much that helps for other people, but we'll find out. But anyways, thank you guys. I'll see you guys on Wednesday at 9:30 a.m. PST, as always. Get that beta out like now. Okay. Okay, Camel, I'll put it out. I'll put it out after the stream here, sure. See you guys. Take it easy.